Hi. Hello.
I'm not sure if I told you what I do here.
Yes, something about an interview.
Yeah. I have this YouTube channel where I interview people, players about the game and most specifically what they believe about the game. This is more like a philosophy discussion and really about strictly gameplay. And I try to understand why they believe such and such, and if that's a good reason. Like,
sure. So it's like guided questions or?
It's like
I assume
a few questions, and depending on what you answer, try to think of interesting questions maybe you haven't considered before. And the goal is to make you think about new things and see if your reasons really hold up your level of belief. It's called
fair enough.
Street Epistemology, and it's pretty cool. Usually it lasts for 30 minutes, but if you're in a hurry, we could do a little quicker. And some talks go to like an hour.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a huge rush, obviously.
But you can, go at any time, and if you don't want to answer some questions, like it's all about consent and being chill. This is not like a debate or trying to humiliate or anything. Actually, I'm going to be very neutral and not take sides. Maybe not even show if I agree or not with your position.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I'm always happy to talk about Overwatch. I've played a lot of it.
Yeah, I think there are some good things to talk about, and I intend to maybe try it on Marvel Rivals sometimes, because I don't know anything about the game. And
I haven't played that game, to be honest.
Yeah, no, me too. And I actually want to do these interviews before I start playing to be completely neutral and not have any stake in the game. That should be fun.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, is there any topic you'd like to talk about? Something you're pretty convinced about? Ideally, it would be something that changes how you act, like how you play, what you say to other players. Not just like a belief you put in a corner of your mind and you forget, but something that actually involves what you do. When you
like positive things that I do, or decisions that I make while playing Overwatch that are sort of I feel are positive, or what?
Doesn't have to be positive. Like if something makes you toxic or make you I don't know. I mean, just anything you're strongly convinced about. I have some examples if you don't have any idea.
I can start off. So I'm convinced that sort of toxicity just instantly leads to you losing the game. Well, not instantly, but it's such a huge detractor from like playing the game. Like the second somebody gets mad, like you start losing so much faster. So I'll try to be really positive when I communicate.
Oh. Okay, you think toxicity has an impact on like the result of the game, of the round, like winning, losing?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you start like mouthing off at your teammates and everyone gets upset, or a few of them get upset. I mean, sometimes people play better, but most of the time, people start overthinking what they're doing, and it makes you worse at the game. Like your positioning just gets thrown off.
Okay, let's try to put this in a simple sentence first. Maybe when you say toxicity, what do you mean first? Like you being toxic, hearing some toxic people on your team, or both?
So I mean, this happens to me quite a bit, and like, I mean, I've been climbing, so clearly these people are wrong. However, like they'll look at me and I'm not doing much damage, or I'm not committing to some team fights that are going on in stupid places, and they're like, "Oh, you suck at the game, like you're terrible." And it's really just we all play the game differently.
Right. So it's people tilting you, if I understand correctly.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Like toxicity leads to people like tilting, and I mean, tilt is playing like online multiplayer games. You don't really want to get tilted, and tilting people, like if you want to tilt someone, you tilt people in the other team, because if someone just like their head's gone, they just lose.
Okay, let's try it this way. I'm going to type the big points of our talk to make sure we agree. And
yeah, that's that one there. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like a fair rephrase of your position. Yeah, nice. Okay, and how convinced would you say you are of this being true?
I'm pretty convinced. I think, obviously, if you have a better sort of handle on your kind of mental space, it's probably not going to do too much, but there's several people playing this game with weak mental, and that toxicity really detracts from their like performance.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, and now the most important part is why do you believe this? What is it that convinced you that this is true?
Well, I've just gone over like I think 1,100 hours in this game playing just competitive, and the thing I've noticed the most from just playtime is when the team starts getting like shouty at each other, and you notice it a lot more in the lower ranks. Like since getting into Diamond, you don't see it much at all, but like metal ranks, it's just people get toxic and you start losing, and there's no reason for it.
Okay, so and if at any point I'm misrepresenting what you said, don't be afraid to correct me. My point is understanding, not trolling you. So it sounds like it's personal experience. Like.
Oh yeah, it would be first-hand experience, just playing the game.
All right. Okay, let's try to check if it's the most. Is it the most important reason, do you think, that convinced you of this? Your personal experience?
I mean, it's between that and obviously if you watch streams and you just watch people play a game at higher levels, obviously they're not like cussing each other out, and clearly they perform better when they're not cussing each other out. I mean, obviously there's a place for teasing, and like that was stupid, but there's a difference between you've made like a bad decision and like, oh well, you suck, you're just the worst. Like, it's differentiating between like mistakes.
Okay, so it's not just your personal experience, but it's the same principle. Like you've seen people being toxic and losing, and you've seen on your games or maybe streams.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
not toxicity, and it seems to make you win.
Yeah, I don't know. My win rate's higher when the games are less toxic. I mean, sometimes you just turn off the voice chat and it makes things easier. But
okay, that's very interesting.
I mean, I'm never not in voice because I like to listen to call-outs, but
yeah, me too.
I understand what people would like to leave.
I usually just get off the toxic people, like specifically not in the whole chat, because you never know. There might be some gems from more shy people. Okay, do you think if you didn't have those experiences, or maybe tomorrow you stopped having those personal experiences, you would start changing your mind, or would you still believe?
I mean, I'd like to think it's just better not to be toxic. I'm not sure. I don't think as much as it would really change that. It's not. I don't see the reason to get on a video game and just be angry. It's sort of like I'm here to relax, as much as playing Overwatch ranked is relaxing, which that's debatable in itself. But you don't want to just get on the game mad, because when you're mad, you just lose. This game is all mental. Like it's so like thought focused, which you don't necessarily. It's not obvious when you first start playing how sort of mental the game is.
You're right. The game is about mental. Maybe it's better than the writing the game is mental, although it can be.
Well, both are correct, actually.
Nice. Okay. Okay. So that's interesting, because you said it was about your personal experience, but if you stopped having those experiences, it seems like you would still be convinced that if there's like something more, some value maybe, or some deeper knowledge that makes it true. Am I reading too much into this?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I just think Overwatch in general, it's very much. Obviously, it's very like there's a lot of mechanics involved in the game. There's a lot of positioning as well, but it's sort of balancing that, and then it's like the strategies as well. Like it's just you've got to put all of that stuff together, which is the same for all games, but everything's very instant here. And if you get, I don't know, if your mental's like thrown off, you end up being worse at combining those three elements.
Okay, maybe that's the reason. Like toxicity impacts your mental, and since the game is about your mental, it impacts the outcome.
Yeah, I don't know. I found when I started climbing, it was when I sort of got less angry and just started being more sort of results focused.
Okay. And is it also because of what you've seen and in your games and others that you've concluded this? I think.
Yeah, well, you can see like well, yeah, pretty much.
Okay, let's. I'm going to try to test this reason to see how effective, how reliable it is. You think someone could like use personal experience to come to a conclusion, but the conclusion be wrong?
Oh yeah, potentially.
Maybe even the opposite conclusion?
What, that sort of the game isn't mental, and if you if you're toxic, you win more.
Maybe, or it
Or
doesn't
some in
impact,
between.
doesn't impact it at all. Like if someone told me, I've heard about this toxicity thing. Honestly, I think it doesn't change anything. I've had games with and game without. That's my personal experience, and the result doesn't seem to change at all. Do you think that could happen to someone? And they,
Oh, for sure.
'cause it's-
And again, I'm saying if someone's, I mean, maybe I've just got a weak mental, but I don't know. I find generally if I get tilted, I start losing more. If people don't get tilted from toxicity, then it's unlikely to affect the outcome. But you remember it's like 5v5, and there's 4 other people on your team who could also get tilted. And again, it's a toss up whether or not they will or won't tilt from toxicity. But I just feel like statistically, it's going to make it more likely.
Yeah, sure. The more people.
But I
the
could
more chances.
understand. Yeah, I could understand though that you might, especially I think on higher ranks, I don't think this counts at all. Like I think Masters Plus, that people are so sort of confident how they're playing, it's not really going to affect it too much because there's a lot of ego involved.
Okay, so maybe are you in those ranks?
Certainly not. I mean, I'm trying. I reckon maybe end of the year we're pushing, but it's a long process.
Yeah, sure. I hope you reach whatever goal you describe. It's just because you're saying it's different in different ranks, and it's about your personal experience. So I wanted to know.
Yeah, I mean the games are complete. Like the game changes entirely between sort of like I mean the way people play in gold versus the way people play in diamond. Like mechanically, there's not a huge amount of difference. It's just about like how smart they are with where they stand and what they're doing.
Okay. Well, we just stick to your own experiences. Or the experience of the streamer, I guess. Okay, if someone could be wrong by using personal experience to arrive at a conclusion, how do you know that you're not the one?
No, I don't. I don't know I'm wrong.
You don't know if you're wrong?
I don't know if I'm right or wrong. It's this is opinion, isn't it?
Okay. If you were wrong, do you have any idea what could be the reason? Like, what would have led you to this false conclusion? It might be too open of a question. I don't know.
No, I'm thinking. Give me a second.
Sorry. I didn't hear you.
So I'm just thinking. Sorry, it's gonna take a minute.
Oh yeah, take your time.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I mean, if you're sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah. If you turned out to be wrong, what would be the cause of this? What would be the reason for you being wrong? Like, what is something that misled you? Did you make a mistake in reasoning? Did something pushed you towards that conclusion from emotion? I don't know. I'm not trying to.
No, it could be. I mean, those are all reasons that somebody could be wrong. I mean, again, it's like if your personal experience, which is what most people sort of learn from, pushes you in a specific direction, you're going to tend to believe what your lived experience is. But if your lived experience is like within some sort of bubble, where like the things that you experience are just different from the things that other people experience, then you're really sort of, your viewpoint's different, so you're going to have a different opinion, and yet that opinion might be wrong in a broader sense, but for you it feels correct.
Okay, yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Is it possible to feel like you're correct, but actually you're not?
Yeah, people do it all the time.
You'll be surprised the answers I get of this question. Many people will tell you, well, if I believe it, by definition, it's true. It's true to me. That's I believe. I just told you.
And I mean that's not wrong necessarily, because that's like their personal truth. But there's like a difference between a personal truth and like an abject truth, and even like what that is, because that's a whole other philosophical problem. It's like what is and isn't true. It's like they spent hundreds of years and no one can really actually decide whether or not that is.
Yeah, usually these talks go towards that kind of topic. Do you think this is personal truth? The toxicity impacts the outcome of the game, or objective truth?
I think it's a personal truth. I mean, for me personally, I know it's the case. It might not be the case in all instances, but yeah, I'd say it would be personal truth.
Okay. If it's personal, can you even be wrong about it?
So, I mean, again, potentially, because your own opinion can change, right? It's like if you think introspectively, you can change. I mean, your mind can change. It's not something that's set in stone. It's like, I don't know, let's say, like I like sports, for example, and like, let's say I like football. Football's the best sport ever. But like 6 years later, I get really into basketball. Now that's the best thing ever. Like, my personal truth 6 years prior was football's the best, and now it's basketball's the best. Both were true, but over a different time frame, you can have multiple things that you believe.
Yeah, they're both true, but not at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, very interesting. So, and you could go back to football, and that would make it true again.
Well, exactly. Like, or you could go back to football and be like, "Oh, this sucks. Why can't I pick the ball up?" But
okay, so this is
again, what's true to you can change, for sure.
What you like how you feel about certain things. Should we call it truth?
Well, again, it's personal truth, isn't it? Because could we even call personal truth truth? Could we not just call personal truth an opinion?
Okay, so if you change your mind about this Overwatch belief, since it's personal truth, and don't be afraid to change your mind about whatever you said. I'm not pushing you into a corner. Oh, you said this, you have to abide by it. The point is to get clarity into your ideas. So yeah, if it's a personal truth, and tomorrow you change your mind about this, like, oh, finally toxicity doesn't matter, or even make things better, would you then be also correct, just because it's personal?
Well, again, that's really sort of what is being correct, right? It's like, unless there's... I think your personal truth would be correct unless there's some sort of greater text or source that gives it like a definitive truth. Because where it's like matters of opinion, which I think this is, it's like, it's difficult to say.
Is there an actual real truth behind the opinion? Or is it just opinions? Like, is there a factual answer to this?
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I'm posing. Like, if there is a factual answer, I think that would be correct. But if there is no factual answer, everyone just sort of has to, well, people who are interested have to sort of work to find what the closest thing to a factual answer is. Which is what I believe I have there, but again, might be wrong.
Interesting. So you could be wrong about personal truth.
I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but I'm open to the possibility of being wrong.
Okay, if someone says the best play you can make in a payload game is not to touch the payload at all, is there an actual answer to this? Just an opinion?
Depends what role you're playing. I think if you're an Ana, probably not.
No, I mean,
if you're playing Doomfist, I reckon there's an argument that can be made.
No, I'm not saying like the whole team do not touch the points at all, not just temporarily or just you, or like as a principle. Players should not touch the payload.
Well, I've played Team Fortress 2, so I know you can have a lot of fun with both teams not touching the payload. In a competitive game, do I think that's correct? No.
Okay, so there is a definite answer to this one. Is your belief like this one? Or is it more opinion-based?
I think mine's closer to a kind of, well, because my opinion is based on trying to win more in a competitive environment, and I feel while following this, I don't know, from my own experience, it seems to be true.
Okay, so do you want to win in competitive games?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to improve, but of course the objective is to win. So yeah.
Okay. So some people don't actually care about this. They just want to have fun or any other reason. So if you were wrong about this, would you like to know?
I mean, I'm always happy to challenge my opinion. Yeah, I'd love to, if you're asking me if there was like an objective, actual, like definitive truth, would I like to know it? The answer is yes.
So you could improve and be better at the game?
Well, I think yeah, but just for my own personal knowledge, because I like being correct. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, sounds fair. Okay, let's try some other direction maybe. So we said that toxicity impacts the result, like you're being toxic or you're not, and that changes whether you win or you lose. Is it possible that it's the opposite, like the reverse correlation? You lose,
What?
therefore it makes you toxic or not. You win, therefore you're not toxic. Like, the other way around.
I think yeah, for sure. I mean, you see that a lot. Like people lose, especially like, you know, when your team is losing and you feel like they've been underperforming, you see a lot of kind of blame being thrown around. It happens a lot. And I find that like the more that happens, like the more you lose, you get a little bit toxic, you get angry. It just leads to snowballing. Like you get on something like, I would call it like tilt queue, where you play like 10 games in a row and you lose all of them. Then you get on the next day with a clear head and you win 15 because you were just playing like an idiot because you were mad.
Okay, so it's not just, if I understand correctly, not just toxicity and outcomes, it's like a vicious cycle. Like the more you lose, and the more toxic you become even more.
Yeah, well, especially if you go like, if you keep re-queuing, which is something I've been known to do from time to time. I think like if you lose and you're angry because you're losing, or it was something out of your control but you're still kind of mad, you're not going to be able to trust your teammates as much, which is kind of important in the team game.
Yeah, fair enough.
To a certain extent, obviously. Individual performance does matter, but it's like if you can't trust your support, you're not going to push. And if you're not going to push, you're not going to get picks. It's going to be a whole thing.
Okay, interesting. So, okay, I'll try to recap. Toxicity can impact the outcome of the game, but it could also be the reverse. You're pretty convinced about this, mostly from personal experience and because the game is about your mental. But someone could use the same reasons you do to come to a false conclusion, and even yourself you acknowledge you could be wrong about this. But this is a personal truth, but you would like to know if you're wrong. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Are you still pretty convinced after everything we've talked about? Do you feel that warrants that level of confidence?
I'm still reasonably convinced, because it's how I've been sort of conducting myself to play games, and so provided I continue to win more than I lose, I'm gonna continue to hold that belief.
Interesting. So that could be something that changes your mind if you start losing.
Yeah, well, I mean, because I can lose, right? But it's like it's an overall thing, because the game's about aggregates. Like you cannot expect to win 100% of the time, but provided that you're winning more than half the time, you're doing something right. Because it is very sort of luck-based, this game, sort of who you get with on your team. Like not all games are 100% winnable.
So
I mean, a lot of them are, but not all of them.
More than 50%, would that be the point?
Yeah, I think I'd have to redress sort of my thought process if I drop below 50%, but hopefully that won't happen.
Yeah. Could it be you lost because of something else than toxicity?
Yeah, I mean, it would be the age-old skill issue. Be what that would be.
Yeah. And could it be the same reasoning for winning? Maybe you won not because of the absence of toxicity, but because of skill issue or anything else?
Well, I mean, the hope is you, generally speaking, you win more because you're better than the other team, or your team is performing better than the other team. But I think to allow the team to do that, to just remove that kind of element where you're throwing doubt at one another, it just means everyone can sort of move forward with a clearer head.
Do you think maybe we're not talking about the same thing when you say doubt? In general, like, would you consider doubt a good or a bad thing?
I think, well, so doubt in the context that I'm sort of posing it is just another element. So when I spoke earlier about the sort of the three mental elements, which was like, you know, positioning, mechanics, and coordination, there's a fourth element there. It's getting kind of muddled up because you're juggling all these things in your brain. So if you're, you know, giving mental space to being angry at someone, that's taking away precious resources that could be spent doing something, you know, more productive.
Interesting. Okay. Do you use that reasoning for other aspects, maybe? Do you stop thinking about
use it in my personal life.
I mean, yes, I guess we could. I was thinking in games, but in life too, yeah. Where you try not to consider or think about something in order to, I don't know how to say it, free up space for your brain.
I mean, yeah. Just, I mean, I've got ADHD, so there's all sorts of stuff going in my head all the time. So if I can kind of clear my head, and the meditation helps. But if you can sort of clear out the kind of extra useless nonsense bits and just sort of only think about useful things, you tend to be better at doing stuff.
Okay, well, I'll hope I helped focusing on what matters, because this is kind of the point of street epistemology. I think we can stop here. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, what's your YouTube channel? I'm sort of interested now. Have you done any more of these?
Yeah, sure. It's like my 5th, 6th, something like this.
Sorry?
It's like my 5th or 6th video.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll give it a little look in. I've spent a lot of time on YouTube. So.
Check it out. I've got some very cool talks about switching and stats and the importance of strategy in winning. So if you want to improve, maybe you'll find something interesting. Maybe you'll find something you agree with, but you will find the defense very lacking, or the opposite, something you disagree, but you actually find some pretty convincing arguments. The point is just to explore the beliefs and the reasons behind it. Now's a good time to remind everyone watching to leave a sub if you like it.
Yeah, sorry, I was just typing. So I'm pushed to talk.
Anything else?
No, is that, are we done? I'm gonna go Q.
Yeah, sure. If you
Question mark?
want
Yeah.
another talk at some point later, I'd be happy to. And yeah, to check it out.
Yeah, well, if you ever want, yeah, just, yeah, no problem. Right, thanks very much.
Yeah, you too. You want to play some games?